Hello everyone. In today's session, we are going to be discovering about hardware security module and how exactly we will be using it. So hang back, sit back and relax, and this is going to be a deep dive session where I'm going to show you how to go about setting up HSM and how to import your keys into HSM rather than the traditional route of using the cloud providers or any other vendors HSM. So let's get started. This is the content I have put together where I'm going to provide a little bit of overview about what is HSM. Didn't want to straight away deep dive into showing what is HSM, how to set it up. I think first we need to understand what exactly is the hardware security module, other key features and benefits, and then the next two bullet points, essentially I'll show in the console how to go about setting up. Feel free, if you already know what is Cloud HSM, feel free to skip the first two parts and straight away you can get to the lab part. So what is Cloud HSM? So what is the definition of and purpose of it? And what is the use case? And if you see the previous video, you could click the link above where I have spoken about key management and other aspects of KMS. You can check out those videos from a security perspective. This is more in terms of storing the keys. So that is where, what is the definition purpose of this? It is a hardware security module that provides secure cryptographic key storage. It helps an organization meet compliance requirements for data security by managing the cryptographic keys with a tamper-resistant hardware device. And how does it integrate with AWS services? HSM, it seamlessly integrates with most AWS services that essentially offering secure cryptographic functionality for applications that are running in the Cloud HSM. It operates independently from AWS. Thus, it will ensure that the users will maintain complete control over their cryptographic keys. And that is what I'll show, how to go about creating a key and importing a key in there. Security and compliance. It will meet several guidelines being set by FIPS 142 level 3, and it will also ensure a high level of security for cryptographic modules. Essentially, the use cases that what we have seen are, it is like, say, organizations with strict regulatory requirements, especially regarding data security and privacy. One of the use cases are it'll encrypt data at rest to protect data and regulatory compliance. It is also used for offload SSL processing for web servers, where one can confirm web server service identities and establish secure HTTPS connections over the internet using SSL and TLS. Another use case what we have commonly seen is to protect private keys for issuing a certificate authority. What it means is if we can secure and house the private keys and sign certificate requests, so you can act securely as an issuing certificate authority. Also, another use case we have seen is it will activate the transparent data encryption for databases such as Oracle. So those are a few use cases where we have seen the need for security and compliance. Control and management. Cloud HSM, it provides users with full control over their hardware security modules, and that is what HSM stands for. It includes the ability to manage cryptographic keys and perform cryptographic operations. Cloud HSM supports a variety of cryptographic tasks such as encryption, decryption, and key management across multiple industries. Then what is the deployment model? And that's what I'll show you, so it's nothing but you'll need to first have a VPC, and the HSM is going to be set up within your VPC to provide isolated processing of cryptographic data. Users can scale their HSM capacity as needed. There is auto scaling, and its capacity as demand grows, your capacity can grow. That's what I'll show how you can go about setting up a cluster. High availability and durability. HSM is designed to ensure high availability and durability across multiple availability zones. What it will also ensure is reliable and continuous service. It provides automatic daily backups and redundancy to protect against data loss. Thus, it will help in DR options as well. And that is one of the key strengths of cloud, HA as well as DR aspects. So I hope this quick overview is good. There are lots of AWS documentation out there. I didn't want to reference them. Feel free to go and check out the AWS document. You can put in a search for Cloud HSM. You will see a lot of information. I just wanted to summarize our experience here at Arina Technologies, how we have helped customers to provide a brief snapshot of what exactly is CloudHSM. And it'll hope you can see these use cases in your applications as well. So what are the key features and benefits of CloudHSM? So first, main one is from a compliance perspective, many regulators, they would like the validation of the hardware security model to be FIPS 142 level 3 validation done. So what it essentially means is that the cryptographic module will be meeting the US government for customers, especially in the US, to provide security standards, higher assurance for key management and cryptographic operations. And we all know what the standards that are set by the US government, they're kind of pretty much adhered in a lot of parts of the world. It provides full control over your keys. You create the keys, you own the keys, you could also destroy the keys as well. And that comes down to the identity access management aspect, but you'll have full control of the keys where you can complete control over the cryptographic keys. You can have key generation, storage, management, deletion to provide security and compliance. They are high performant. They provide dedicated single-tenant access to hardware security modules, thus ensuring consistent performance without interference from other users that are there. Simple integration. Like HSM, it provides a variety of applications using APIs, and these are all protocols, I won't go into the nitty-gritties of these. Essentially, it will provide easy migration and integration. Scalability. Seamlessly scale up your HSM capacity up or down with demand, without the need to provision hardware manually. So that is the required scalability aspect. Secure root of trust. This is very important because most of our organizations will need to ensure that the certificate chain root of trust is secure. So CloudHSM provides a tamper-resistant and secure root of trust for handling highly sensitive and regulated workloads. End-to-end encryption. Data plane operations are fully encrypted, ensuring that even AWS does not have visibility of the keys and as well, and it'll help protect your data privacy because this is a common, not a concern, but something that a lot of customers are wary of. And that is where in one of the earlier videos, you could check out customer managed keys, why you should use customer managed keys. But some customers do want to go a step forward, also to have the keys stored in their own hardware security module, and they could bring their own key material. High availability, I spoke about earlier, you can get high availability as well. And flexible management options. You can have the management using AWS console. I'll show you a mix of console and SDK using command line tools. I'll show you a mix of that so you'll get a brief understanding on how to go about it. So now let's get further into it where I'll bring up the console. This is the console we have, and I'll now quickly go into the how to go about the setup over here. This is going to be a pretty detailed one and a pretty complex one. So I'll go step by step on what is required. So first we'll go here. Try to get admin access. Ideally you should have IAM, but just for the sake of ensuring it is set up, you could do that. So select EC2. The reason why you need EC2 is you need to be able to connect your VM with cloud hardware security module to do the configuration and other setup, which is where you need to have it preferably in the same VPC, a virtual private cloud, as the hardware security module. So that is where I come here and I click this. I don't see any instance. Let me do a launch instance here. And I say, I'll give the name cloud. Give a name that you could see it's good and you could make it manageable. You could go with Amazon Linux. That's it's simple, but any other OS flavor should be good enough as long as, right, you are kind of comfortable. Just go with you don't need a big box out here. You could go with the T2. I like going with the T3 family. T2 is kind of an older family. So you could go here, but you don't see the free tier. So just stick with the free tier one that you get. That should be fine. If you're using in your application, T2 is the older family. T3 is the most predominant where most customers are using. Oh, this is what you need to do. You need to create a new key pair. So let me open this and let me open this in a new tab. Or let me see if it pops up in your tab. Not really. Let me do this. HSM and let me load HSM key. This is the format. I'll leave the default options and I'll click the create key pair. Now this is going to store in your own computer. So would see this is the downloaded, stored, and now you could see this option selected out here as well. Now this is where you need to choose the VPC. This is important. So when you come here, you could see the VPC Now I just have one VPC. I actually did create another one. So I'll choose this one. And now for people who are here, you could see these options out here. So I'll just leave the one that I have selected. That's what I'll just, and you don't want to enable public IP. You don't need to do this. And create security group. You could just give it, instead of launch wizard, just give it the same name so that eventually if you do have to clean, it would be simple. And you could just say HSM security group. I'll leave these, but if you want to get access, say from a VPN, you would need to enter these as well out here. These you could leave as default. You don't need storage. You could leave it as default. And advanced, you could leave it. So I'll just hit launch an instance. And now my instance is launching. So it should be pretty quick. Let's see. So now my instance is launched. I can come here and this is where I will see the instance showing up. Now this is going to take some time to boot. And till it does, let me go and check the CloudHSM aspect of it, the connectivity. And this is going to start to show the connect part when this is enabled. You could also use a shell like PuTTY, or you could use, you could use WinSCP, something I like, and I have integrated WinSCP with PuTTY. So it becomes a seamless integration, but something you could check into. So let's wait. Hopefully it should come up. There you go. So now it's running. So what you could do is as I said, AWS has started offering this feature, and in fact, not just AWS, all cloud providers provide where you could, from this cloud shell, essentially they call it, from the console, you can connect to your VM. So that is what you could come in here. You could hit connect. And this is where you don't need the key in this case, right? Because it's want to use from a local client. But you could just say use this one. And these are something that you need for here. But I'll just use EC2 Instance Connect. And this is the first time maybe when I'm using this one. And I usually use WinSCP to do the setup. Okay, so this is where it's saying it must be authorized in the EC2 account setting. Let's see what this is. So allow. And I update. So now it says serial access allowed. And now if I come back here and come to my instances, I select connect, and serial con's not supported for the, is not supported for the EC2. So that is where if you get free, you don't get an option, but let me see if I can do this. Is okay. I should restrict it, and I will as soon as I see this. Now, I think something even new for me. Let's make this a lab to download WinSCP, or let's download PuTTY for that matter. PuTTY download, and you can download PuTTY.org. It's a free tool. You can download from here. And I'll just choose x86, and while it downloads, I open the file. So you need to follow the steps to install. You could leave the default setting. You install PuTTY files, yes, and now you should be good to install PuTTY. I don't want to be readme, and I hit finish. Now PuTTY should be installed, and if I go in here and select PuTTY, I should see this pop up. And now what I do is I come in here and I select my private IP. But first thing what I also need to do is the security group aspect. It is allowed to the world, which is fine. This is just a demo. Ideally, you only want to allow it to a particular IP. Actually, let me show you that also how to do it. So what you do is you come here. What is my IP? You could choose here and then just copy this IP address and you could enter it out here. And for that, what you need to do is, you need to go here, like this, and hit inbound rules, remove this 0, and give your own IP. And that should be good enough. Now, what I need is, let me close this tab. And what I need is the private IP address. So now in my PuTTY, what I do is I come here, and in search in auth, I will need to agent credentials, private key file for authentication. This is the downloaded file that I had. So what I'll do is I'll go to the downloaded one, and let me give the CloudHSM key.pem. This is the PPK, so that is why it is not showing. I choose this, And it should, and this is the private key optional. If I want, I can do that. And if I try hitting connect, let's see if it connects now. Another thing I can do is I can try first pinging the box and see if that helps. You open a new prompt is to ensure there is connectivity. Now there is no connectivity, so that's one issue we need to fix. Maybe my IP I need to fix here. But nonetheless, let me go back and edit in by rules, and let me put all traffic, allow it. And now let's see if this works. This is ICMP, so that's why it's not pinging, and that's why it won't work. So the IP was not the issue, it was the protocol. With ping it uses ICMP. It's not port 22, but this is something different that needs to be sorted out. So we try again, putty connection. Come here, host name or IP, and then authentication. Let me just download WinSCP only. I think that'll be simpler. This is to show the integration with, don't click any of these, right? So you don't wanna do any of these clicks. Just come here, install this on a Windows. And WinSCP, for the last I remember, it's only there for Windows, because anyways Mac it's a Linux sort of configuration Mac, so you don't need that one, but you could just go with the typical. I like the Explorer view, right? So I like this one. So I'll just go with the Explorer, install, and probably this is becoming a more of a WinSCP and putty tutorial connectivity. Not really need this, and you do launch WinSCP now. So now you give the host name, which is the IP address, and you need to give the EC2 user. And this information, what you can do is you can come here, you can click connect and use a name, or you could also use an SSH client. EC2 user, just try this setting. Actually, let me try this option here if I can get this working. So if I go to git bash, so I go to, and now if I go to, I need to find the download one. Yeah, I was thinking I can show, but okay. Let's go here, EC2 user the password. Let's go to advanced, and we'll go advanced authentication, and you can choose the file here. You can go to downloads, you can choose all, and you can choose this one. We need to go to downloads, and like this now. This is what I like about WinSCP. You get this option, you can just save the PPK file. It'll convert it. And certificate, I think this should be fine. And now, let's see, let's save it. You could give it a name. I like giving it like this. You could create folders, WinSCP. Let's see now if this works. Apparently it's not able to get to this one. So let me do one thing. Let me come here and go back to security group and inbound. Let me allow all traffic here. I know you must be thinking, but don't worry, by the time you see this video, this instance would be terminated. So let me now come here and see if that makes any difference. Probably it needs to be set up with so I think the issue, it really is. Let me come here, VPC ID, subnet ID, and let me see this instance here. Which subnet? I think it's a private subnet. That's probably the issue. And then I haven't set the routing rules. I most likely may need to move this to a public subnet. So this is 16. And then if I come here, I could just do this. And these are the two subnets. And if you see, you could go to route table. Oh, it does have our internet gateway. So we should be good. So this is one of the things you all would know, right? That if you have an internet gateway, that makes it a public subnet. So then what's the issue? Why is it not connecting? Let me pause the video and I'll come back fixing this issue on how to go about it. So now what I did was so we need to now create a new instance. And what I did was I provisioned a new VPC, which is my own private VPC. Let me show you that setup here. What I did also was I deleted the default VPC. You should delete the default VPC. You should not really use the default VPC. Create your own VPC here. I just gave a test name out here. This is the CIDR I chose. And based on this, I created this one subnet out here. I did the route table mapping. I wouldn't go into details of that. And then what you do is I spun an instance out here. So this is where I was showing that you could create an instance. And one of the things you need to do as part of accessing this publicly is to attach a public IP as part of this setup. So let me go here. This is the elastic IP. I will associate elastic IP address. And this should be good. One elastic IP is what I need. Now I come here. I do associate. I choose an instance. This is the one that's there. It's got to be the same thing. And I do associate. Now it will show this elastic IP is associated with this particular instance out here. So now if I come to this IP, if I ping, now if I come here, I do this ping. Let me come here, putty. Let me now try connecting through WinSCP first and see if this works. The public IP here. And then you see to use them and save. Now it came up and it connected. Except now I'm in the VM out here. So the missing thing was, of course, the public IP, but also I had some networking thing I had done. And now after that I'm able to do. Now let me see if I can putty. Now this is where I'm able to put it to the VM as well. In WinSCP, the listener like WinSCP is integrated with putty. So you can do the setup. So now our VPC is set up as part of the HSM installation. Now what we will do as part of next step, we will go to HSM cluster creation. So we come back here. I don't need few of these tabs to clean up. So now I'll come to HSM. You could come here, choose the option out here. And this is where you should see, select this one, CloudHSM. Don't go to this one. Don't go to the Redshift one. Select the CloudHSM one out here. And this selects. There you go. Now, this is the first screen you're going to come because this is a brand new setting. It'll provide you this GUI. Come here and click Create the Cluster. Now this is the screen that's going to show up. And now once you do this, you choose the VPC. Choose the easy because that's what the subnet I have given. You could always do another, right? That is because I can have only one. I just configured my VPC to only have one. So you should, in a production environment, have more than one. And that is the point I was making. It has high availability, DR scenarios, part of the setup itself. But as of now, since it's just showing you guys how to use it, this is what you can do. You can also restore from backup, or you could create a totally new cluster. In my case, I'm going to create a totally new cluster. I do this, I leave the default retention period of 90 days. Tags is something you should do. For now, I'll skip. And this is one warning. Obviously, you can't change the HSM after the VPC, after it's set up. So you can't change the VPC after the HSM is set up. And this is what you do. And I hit, I understand, and create. So this is what you will now see once the cluster is getting created. It will take some time for the cluster to be created, and this is what you will see out here. It does take around 15 to 20 minutes to get created. So what I'll do is I'll pause the video at this point and we'll reconvene once the cluster is created. So now we can come here and we see that our cluster is created, but it is in an initialized state. So what are the next steps you will need to do? You will need to ensure that the cluster is initialized. So what we'll do is we will click on this cluster and we click here. Now we come to the actions part. We come here and then we click on the initialize button. Now this is where I just have one availability zone. So I can choose this one and hit the create button. So what this is doing, it is still saying it is being created and it is initializing the cluster. So now this will take a few minutes for the cluster to change from uninitialized to initialized. And what I'll do again is I'll pause the video and then we'll reconvene once it's initialized. So now you can come here and see that the cluster is going to be in an initialized status. So once it is initialized, you must sign the certificate signing request. So this is what you need to do. So what you need to do is you need to download it here and download the CSR. And let me open the location. This is the CSR you can download. And this is what we will do is the next step of signing it. So we in our shell, that putty that we had opened, this is the putty we had opened earlier. What I'll need to do is I'll make a new folder where you want to make the CSR. So I come in here And this is the EC2. So don't work on the EC2 user because you may have to give more permission. And if you do work on the EC2 user, you can have, inadvertently, you may give additional permission that for some reason may corrupt the file that you may not even be able to SSH into the VM. Which is where what I'll suggest is you come back here, say to WinSCP, and you could come in this OPT folder. I like to put it in OPT folder and just create directory, say HSM, and you can't do it here. Let me do it from here. Let me see if I can do it directly. Make directly OPT HSM. Permission is not. Let me do sudo. So now this is where I'll see the directory created over here from a more visually aspect. So I'll just come here and do details. I'll see this setting out here. So now we have the directory created. What I'll do is I'll cd into it and OPT HSM. And now we have cd into directory. So what we have to do is in a Linux system, we do have OpenSSL. So first we need to create a private key. That is the very first step we need to do. So for that, what I'll do is I'll run command OpenSSL gen SA -AES 256-out customer .key and the size. So once I do this, so again I get a sudo. Let me do a sudo here, or actually just let me do a chmod just for the sake. You shouldn't do. All right, but I'll just make this. Okay, let me just do sudo. This for the sake of this video. Now what I've said is I've given all permissions anyway on this specific folder only, nothing else. So you need to give a password. Mistakenly I pressed a word, so let me do it again. So give a password, in other words, which is something that you will need to use across. So memorize it or store it in a safe place that you can use other places. What I'll do is I'll give something that I can remember. And it is a certain length. It needs, I think it is around 8 characters, so you can't give anything less. And once you do, you will see if I go in here and if I refresh, I will see this setup done. And now this is the secret key that is created as part of this. Now what I need to do is, using this private key, I need to create a self-signed certificate. So this is the self-signed certificate that I will be creating. So let me go here. And let me come out of this. And now again, I'll do OpenSSL and rec-new. So this is the command. You could check it out if required. What needs to be done. I won't go into the nitty-gritties of these commands because that will be a separate video in itself. But this is essentially what I'm saying. I'm going to be creating I'm going to use the private key to create a self-signed certificate using this command. This extra, his days is added. No? Okay, I missed this dash key here. This should work. So put the password you had put earlier. Now it's going to ask for the country name. Type in the country name. Type in the state. I put, say, Wyoming. Type in the locality. If anything you want, you could put it. Say, I'll just put Wyoming. Again, organization, I'll just put Arina. Organization, you just put cloud. Common name, I'll just put at arina.com. So now what we have done is we have used the private key to create a self-signed certificate that we can see here. If I come here, there should be a file that is created. So that is the file that we have created. Now, once the self-signed certificate is done, we have to sign the cluster CSR. So how will we do that? Let's get into that step. So now we created the CRT file. And I have been able to zoom into putty, so it is a little more good for my editing team here. So now we'll assign the cluster. So for that, what I'll do is I'll come in here. I was searching how do I zoom in. So I need to assign the cluster CSR, for which again what I'll do is I'll go back to putty. And this is the command I'll be running in. So which is open. I hope this is a little better. X509. And I give the cluster ID, which in this case is going to be, this is the cluster ID of my. So I paste it here and then I come back and I choose here cluster CSR.CSR. And the reason I need to do this is because this is actually I could have just copied from here, but this is the name of the file that I'm trying to match. Put here So you're better off just copying it here just to ensure it. But anyways, I typed it out, so let's move forward. And then what I'll need to do is, I will need to provide the file, which is customer. Let me just copy it this time. I go back to WinSCP and I copy it from here. And then I paste it, go back, and then I do CA key. I provide the key, and then I come here. I do a CA create serial, and this is the output, and I give the file. And what is that? Let me take from here actually. A little simpler for me. And this I just needed this one. So this is the cluster ID along with I'll put customer HSM certificate dot. You can give anything you want, this name, but this is the I've done as part of this setup. So I hit enter. There you go. It can't read no such file or directory. It can't read because this file CSR is not existing. It's sitting on my local. So I need to put this into directory. Let me see if I can directly copy. And that's why I like WinSCP. It makes life a little simpler. Here it comes. I do it, and just for the sake of it, I'll just give all permissions. I know people watching will say you shouldn't do that, and I agree. And I don't do that. I'm not recommended also. It was just for the sake of this video. You don't want to watch a 3-hour video, right? You want to just get it done soon. So that's why I just wanted to give full permission. Now let's run the command again. And now this is the passphrase that you had given earlier. Give the same passphrase, and you should get the RT output file as part of here. There you go. So you got this output file as part of this. So now what we do is, we have created the CRT file. Now we are going to come here, and this is where we have to, there is the signed certificate, choose next. So now we have to choose next, and now we have to upload the cluster certificate. And in the cluster certificate, this is in a local directory, and these files are here. So what I need is the CRT file, and these two files are what I need. So let me copy it and see if I can. I need these files, otherwise I'll not be able to. There you go. So it does give you this. So now I copied it to my local, and now I'll be able to. So now here I am. I choose this one, and next to issuing certificate, choose the customer ca.crt file. Now we have the signed certificate files here. I do upload and initialize, and this again will start the initialization process where we have signed the cluster with our self-signed request that we have created. Now this again will take some time, and still the activation of the AWS security module is not complete. So again, it's going to take some time. I'll pause the video and we'll circle back once it's done, which should be in another 20-30 minutes. It should be done, and we'll reconvene then. So now what we see is the cluster is initialized, but still we need to set the cluster password using CloudHSM. So what we do, this is the link I've opened from here. You can do the same. And first we need to install the CLI command that is there, because a lot of steps you're going to be doing is through CLI. So we have set up Amazon Linux, and you could do the same here that we have chosen. And to verify which instance is this, just to be double sure, you can just come here and go back to EC2 and choose this one. And if you choose your instance, you should see the family that is there as part of this setup. Probably not in this one, but you could come in here in the console and choose the next one option. This is a little sometimes confusing if we see. And then let me click on this. Let me go to the AMI just to show you how we can check which flavor is it. If I take this AMI, and now if I go to the AMI section out here, and this is not run by me, this is public images. And if I put in here, this is the AMI. Now this is where I should see which instance is this actually. Next, yeah, there you go. It's at Linux 2023 AMI. So which one was I choosing? Yeah, there you go. So you need to choose this one, right? So that is just ensure, just to avoid in last minute hassles. It shouldn't be any different, but just keep it same. You'll have a much smoother ride. So do this, run this command wget from here. I go to putty. I do set it up. It's downloading. It downloaded. Then run the command. Let me close this queue. And now it is going to install the CLI. So let's give it some time for the CLI to do the installation. And you just say yes. And it completed the CLI installation. Little more, right? For ARM64, for majority will be using x86, so you should be good for now. And if you come in here, you should see another CloudHSM option. Now this is where, as part of next steps, we need to do the CLI setup. So what I'll do now is, I will come back here into my putty that CLI is installed. So now I will run this, right? What I need to do is I need to take the customer ca.crt file, which is it's in this WinSCP location. I had customer ca.cr, and rather you can do it this way, or you can run the command option, either way. But move this file that I also had copied it here to this directory. I don't have permission, so I need to come back here and do it. I hope I'm not flipping too much, but let me, instead of move, let me just copy and let me do a sudo, because without sudo it may again give me the permission error. And I'll take this file name and I'll move it to PC location of CloudHSM. So I'll just move it here. Now if I come, I refresh it, I copied the file in this particular location. If you want, you can always see this config. Right? You could use the config editor here. It'll provide you information. You can come and edit this config file also if you require something to see, right? Ideally, you just are better off putting the CRT file here to point to this locations, because that's where it will pick up. So now what you need to do is, this documentation here provides the steps to activate the cluster as well. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this command. I come in here, let me clear, and I run this interactive, not a valid IP address. So I missed one step, and that is where the file is going to be. This is what I need to change to, actually. So there is one step I think I missed, actually. This is one command. Now this is what I need to do. I need to give this command out here. So let me copy it to show you what to do. Now you come in here, and now I come to the cluster. Now what is the IP address? This is the IP address of my cluster I need to provide. So now I come in here, and this should be updated with the IP address. Let me refresh this guy. You see, it should be updated. There you go. So you could come in directly here. Ideally, you shouldn't touch this file. I just like coming and touching it. But you should avoid and just follow the commands that AWS wants you to run. So you do this, you should be good. Now, let me run the above command again, which is the interactive. I start it, and it is doing something, but it seems to be stuck. And that is what you do. You run this command, then CLI interactive. This is what you need to do to activate the cluster. Let me exit. It shouldn't take so long. It is. Had no error as well. I was probably better off with an error rather than this one. Let's see if there's something wrong with the config file. This seems to be right. And also what we see is it will create a security group for us. If you guys are interested, you can come in here. You can check the security group section out here. And you will see it created your security group. You could see the rules that are there. It allows traffic on these ports from the VM's security group. That's what it is saying. So it should work. Why is it not working? Okay. Let me reboot. Sometimes it could be that we did this config update. Maybe I can't reboot. Let me do a sudo reboot. Okay, so it's rebooting, and I can exit out of this putty. It will start up soon. And this is still doesn't really in turn take it if you do it from the terminal. So let's give it some time. It should be quick. It doesn't take too long to reboot. So let's give it some time. and we should see it up and running and see if it works, as hopefully don't really want. Anyways, it's a tedious process. Let's see. There you go. So the VM came up. Now let's see if you're able to get it running. I copy this. No, still the same issue. And why is it the same issue here? So let me give this access and bin, because it should be able to, it's in the same directory. I don't think this should really make a difference, but just for the sake of it, let me come in here. And all this is, let me just try and see if this works. Not that it shouldn't really have a file permission issue. Something else is going on. I think it may be the CLI I installed. I think that version probably I should have had to do 2020 Linux version 2 actually. I think this is what I had to probably do. Let me see if there's an option to uninstall here. Let me try overwriting it. So, yeah, maybe that's the issue here. Let me try, see if I can uninstall. I'll just try overwriting and see if that makes any difference. So it did the installation, and then now I will do this here. Let's see if this makes anything. Now I come as part of this setup, and I come to OPT, CloudHSM, bin, not bin, etc. If I come to E, yeah, okay, maybe it'll work. So let's just give it a shot and see. Otherwise I'll have to come back on this one. Should have been something simple, but something is wrong with this option out here. Let's see if it initialized. It's still here because we need to do it from the CLI command. That's what step is pending. But weirdly, I'm not getting any errors. Let me see if there's a help option out here. Yeah, there you go. You have a help. Is there a debug or something? Let me give the default is OPT HSM, OPT Cloud HSM. This is the location. So you need to give this. And I moved the CRT file as well. Then what is the problem? Cloud HSM ca.crt. This is the put. Let's see this log file. This is where we should see some data. OPT Cloud HSM run. Let's see if I can see from here. We do see something. Let's do a word wrap. So what we are seeing is trying to establish connection with the server for operation timeout. HSM IP port 2223 is connecting. So traffic is not being allowed in this particular setup. So this is where we created the security group of this cluster. We can dig a little deeper. What is the security group of this instance? We come in here. I can have this one. And we come in. Why is it copying? It's not copying, and let me do the other way. See if this works. We need to have here, and it should be, I think this is incorrect. Here we need to change to allow this guy, which is the instance IP B6D. So that is what we need to change as part of this setup. So I come into HSM. This is the HSM security group. So let me do one thing. Instead of touching the HSM, I'll update this guy, but I think I have to touch this one only, because without that it won't work. So let me do here. And the source is, and yeah, I'll choose this one. I'll give the same here, save the rules, and let's see if this makes any difference. Now I come here and, okay, there you go. So let me now zoom in again, and I'll just repeat what I said. Change the setting, appearance. I had made it 20 earlier. And let me apply. So now this is there. So what I did was, the issue we saw was the VM was unable to communicate with the HSM cluster because the traffic from the VM to the cluster was not allowed. So what I did was I went to the security group of the cluster and I added a rule to allow traffic from the VM. And that's when it started working. Now this is where I see the prompt. So now what I need to do is I could go back to the command and I can run this option out here, which is, should be this. This is the one I need to do. So I copy this And now the password is the same that you had given. Or this is the password, but just keep the same. Now you see cluster activation successful. And we have come, if we come to the cluster, if I refresh, no, not really. Should do it. So probably it'll still take some time. This shows as active. Then this one still showing as initialized. That's what I did. I set the password. Yeah. Let me see if there's any errors out here. Let's refresh. This activation successful. So let's do one thing. Let's give this guy some time. Maybe, oh, there you go. So now it is active. Now the cluster is active. But what it is saying is you should have definitely 2 availability zones, not 1, because of high availability. And that is something, yes, we should do that, right? But for not the sake of this video, just let's keep it as 1. Now, with this setup done, let's set up the admin user, which is going to be required for our subsequent work. So anyways, we are here in the admin user. What we do is we create a admin user. So what I'll do is I'll do user create, and this is the username admin, and dash role is admin. I'll give the same password what I gave for the other ones. Error code 1, and admin must be logged in. Right. So now what I need to do is I first need to log in with the admin user. There you go. So error code 0 means good. Error code 1 means something you need to act on. So now I created the admin user, but also now admin user is just for maintaining the users and roles that are there for CloudHSM. You are not going to use this. What you're going to really use is a crypto user. And that's one of the things I'm going to do is create a crypto user, not for creating Bitcoin, but just for CloudHSM. You may want to use and store your Bitcoins here, but this is something to look into. So now I come here. And, right, essentially what a crypto user can perform the key management and cryptographic operations. Essentially, well, what is key management? It is create, delete, share, import, and export cryptographic keys. And what are the cryptographic operations? It is uses cryptographic keys to encrypt, decrypt, sign, verify, and other such action items that could be done. So what we are going to do is, now we have logged in as the admin. What we're going to do is with using the admin user, I will create this crypto user argument. I missed this one. There you go. I'll again just keep same, but keep whatever password you guys want. Now 0 is it created the crypto user. Now what we can do is we can log out of the admin user, because as I said, admin user is only for creating the users. Majority of the work we have to do with crypto user. We cannot use admin because it's going to throw you an error. So let's log out from the admin user from here and just type log out. That should be simple. Now what we do is we log in with cu_user1. I'll give the password. There you go. So 0 means it's logged in. So this is what we have done is we have created we have initialized a cluster. We have created cloud hardware security module. And next step, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be creating a key material and importing that key material in the KMS. And that is where I'll just give you a preview of the next step. I come in here. I choose KMS here. And let me choose new tab. This is where, alright, I don't have any keys, but instead of going this route, we will use the CLI to create the keys, and we can go about importing it. So we'll continue this in the next steps out here. Please like, subscribe, share the video. Please contact us for any of your cloud requirements or cloud consulting requirements. We have decades of experience in cloud, and we can definitely help your organization take the right step in cloud. With that, thank you, and see you in the next video.